In this video, I'm going to talk to you about why I almost quit publishing low content books on Amazon KDP and what I'm doing going forward. Welcome to my channel. My name is Caroline, and yes, I almost quit KDP. Almost. I know that my thumbnail on this video was a little bit clickbaity, so sorry for that, but I did not, in the end, quit publishing low content books on Amazon KDP. But I was close, this close. And I'll go over why in this video, why I didn't quit KDP, and what kind of books I am publishing now. I will go back a little bit into how I got started with all of this if you are somebody who's new to my channel. I started publishing books back in 2020, low content books that is, in 2020. Actually, I did start publishing books way back in 2018, back before KDP even existed. Back then, we published books on Amazon through a platform called CreateSpace. I had never even heard of the term low content back then. I'm not sure it was even coined at that point. I just decided that I wanted to create some coloring books, so I did. I created a coloring book and I published it on Amazon through CreateSpace, and then I decided that I wanted to see that book in person before actually selling it to anybody to make sure that it was good enough quality. And so I set the price really, really high so that no one would buy it. I ordered myself a copy of it. I got it. I liked it. And then I have no idea what happened. I never changed the price back to a normal price that people would pay for a coloring book. And I just forgot all about KDP and that I had published this coloring book. Actually, let me just back up there because I do know what happened. Back then, I had this really bad habit and this bad mindset of always being distracted by the next thing, the next shiny object. I had classic shiny object syndrome. So I would start a project or I'd start something, but I'd never finish what I started. I would start it and then something else would get my attention. I'd get distracted by somebody else doing something else that was working for them. And I'd stop doing what I was doing with that previous thing and I'd start something new. And I just was in this cycle of starting things, never finishing them, never seeing them through, and in turn, never seeing any kind of success with them. So that's what happened there with CreateSpace. And I just think what could have happened if I had actually started publishing coloring books back then, it would have been the kind of thing where I would have been one of those sort of first people getting in with low content books and coloring books in particular. And if I had just been consistent back then and if I had just followed through on something that I had started, I just think, what could I have possibly done? When I look at brands like Jade Summer and things like that, things could have been very different. But then in late 2020, I came across what people were calling low content book publishing. And I decided I wanted to give it a try. I love books myself, all types of books and stationery and things like that. And I decided, surprise, that I wanted to publish some coloring books and planners and journals and things like that because those things I like myself. And at this point, it still didn't trigger in my mind that I had already created this coloring book and published it on Amazon through CreateSpace. I had still completely forgotten all about that. And so in late 2020, that's what I did. I started creating and publishing these books. In 2020, I was also in a better place mindset-wise where I was being consistent, I was following through on commitments I made to myself, and I was finishing projects. So I was pretty confident about being able to consistently work at low content book publishing and make success from it. But this bad habit that I had had previously crept back in, and I would see someone talking about how much money that they were making with, for example, notebooks. So I started making notebooks even though I hadn't planned to do that. Then I saw someone talking about how much they were making with logbooks. So I started making logbooks even though I never really wanted to, never really enjoyed it and hadn't planned on it. And I was doing, I think, what a lot of people do when they're new to low content books is I was creating one interior for a book and slapping 20, 30 different covers on it and publishing those 20 or 30 books, thinking that, well, the more books I've got up, the more I'm going to sell or the more chances I have to sell, which in theory is correct in a way, but only if it's the right book in the right niche and it's something you've enjoyed making, which I think really comes through sometimes when you're creating something. I was very focused on quantity because when you do see these income reports from other self-publishers, and don't get me wrong, I love watching people's income reports. I find them extremely inspiring and motivating. But when you see their income reports and that they've got thousands upon thousands of books published to KDP, it gives you this idea that the more books that you make, the more money you're going to make. And you get into this habit of just churn and burn, churning out books without really putting much thought into it. I also had originally set out to make coloring books, and then I would see people saying that coloring books is oversaturated. You'll never make money from coloring books. It's too hard. There's too many brands out there. All those things that people say about not being able to have success on KDP, particularly with coloring books. And so I got scared and I thought, you know what? Maybe they're right. Maybe there is too many coloring books. There's so many on there. Why would anyone want mine? It's oversaturated. Even though that's what I've never really thought before, I got distracted by other people's opinions on what they thought was right or wrong. So I was trying to publish all these different types of books in all these different types of niches, and I was fairly struggling to make a consistent income from KDP at the beginning, which, to be honest, is actually pretty normal, and I think something that 99% of us go through regardless of any business that you start. There's always some struggles at the beginning for consistency, and it does take a little while sometimes to figure out what works for you and to make something that people actually want to buy. And what works for one person won't work for everyone. So at the beginning, I was just trying a lot of different things. I was spending a lot of time on niche research, trying to find that one big niche that was going to be like hitting the jackpot, the one that, you know, probably doesn't exist. And along the way, I was sharing my journey here on my YouTube channel and sharing the things that I was learning, things that was working and things that were not working. By mid-2021 and towards the end of 2021, I was starting to see some traction and see some results, particularly with a series of coloring books that I had published at the beginning of my low content book publishing journey in 2020. Then, if you have been following my channel and my videos for a little while, you know that around 6 or 7 months ago, I had my KDP account terminated twice in the space of a month. I'm not going to go into detail about that in this video because I do have another separate video where I went into detail about what happened. But basically, KDP all of a sudden decided that there was a problem with a dream journal that I had uploaded. Now, I uploaded, like I say, a bunch of dream journals, same interior, different covers, but they only had a problem with 2 of them, I believe it was, were listed in the email. But of course, they wouldn't tell me what the actual problem was. They are very vague in these type of situations about what the problem could be, but they said that I had to swear that I wouldn't do it again and they would give me my account back. Which I did. I just wanted my account back, so I said I wasn't going to do whatever it was I was supposed to have done. And I did get my account back a few days after that, only to have it terminated again a week or 2 later. They said because I never responded to the first emails about my account being terminated the first time, which was clearly a mistake. And again, I did finally get the account back after that, after several attempts at contacting KDP about it, and I got it back a little while later, but I really wanted to know why it got terminated. So I did start contacting KDP to try to get some answers. They kept sending me those canned, vague email responses. If anyone or any of you have ever contacted KDP about an issue you have, you will probably know the very vague responses you get about why something was terminated or why a book was rejected and things like that. They don't just tell you why. They give you 5 or 6 different reasons that it could be. And that's what they were doing in these emails. And I was just getting so frustrated because I just wanted to know what I had done wrong because I had no clue. I'm someone who likes to follow the rules. I was aware of the guidelines. I knew what they were. I thought I was following them, but clearly I had done something wrong and I wanted to know so that I wouldn't do it again with any books in the future. And I was worried that some of the books I had already published as well also had the same issue. Anyway, in the end, someone did finally actually email me back from KDP saying, look, it was all a mistake. There's nothing wrong with any of your books. don't know what happened. Your account got accidentally terminated the first time, which it shouldn't have been. And then obviously the second time was also an accident. There is nothing wrong with your books or your accounts. Sorry. Actually, no, they didn't say sorry. There was no sorry in the emails. All they said was that the whole thing was a mistake and everything in my account was fine. But I was just worried that my account had some sort of flag on it, that it had been marked for some sort of issue because my account had been terminated. I thought that maybe it had been flagged and they don't look at why it was terminated, that it was actually an accident, and that what if it happened again and then next time I don't get it back, or what if it just becomes really hard for me when publishing books in the future. So I just decided to leave KDP alone for a while and just think about what I wanted to do going forward. And at this point, all my books were unpublished. I didn't have a massive amount, I guess, compared to what some other publishers have at this point. I think I had around 120, over 100 books published at that point. And when they terminated my account, all the books became unpublished. So when they reactivated my account, all of my books were just sitting in draft mode. Nothing was automatically republished again. So if I did want to publish any more books, I was going to have to sit and go through and republish them all again. But I decided not to do that. I decided to just take some time and think about what I wanted to do with low content books and just KDP in general going forward. And so over the space of 2 or 3 months, I did really think about whether I wanted to continue publishing low content books on KDP. I love making those types of books and I love using those types of books myself in my own personal life. But I was so frustrated and annoyed over that lack of control that we have over our accounts, the fact that they can terminate our accounts without even having a valid reason to, and having books rejected, unpublished, and the many, many things that happens or can happen to our books on KDP and our accounts on KDP without any seemingly good reason. And I was just so annoyed that I had followed the rules, I'd done all the right things, and it still happened to me, even if it was a mistake. So this was all happening around October, November 2021. And so we come into the new year of 2022 and I still hadn't really decided what to do, but all my books had been unpublished for a few months. I knew that if I did want to start republishing any of my books, I was going to be basically starting from scratch, because any traction that I'd built and any of my place that I had sort of reached in the search results was all going to be gone, and I was going to just have to start from scratch again. But in the end, I did decide to republish some books because it is something that I really, really love doing. I love creating low content books, I love publishing them, and I love using them myself. And when I realized it is something that I really do love and want to continue doing, I decided I was going to republish my books. But my strategy was going to be different going forward, and I was going to stick with it, and I was not going to get distracted. I was going to stick with the books that I really enjoyed myself and that I had planned on focusing on at the very beginning, and the books that I felt had really good potential, or the niches that they were in had really good potential. And this is coloring books, activity books, puzzle books, those sorts of books. So back when I originally wanted to publish coloring books and then got scared because I was listening to other people saying coloring books is oversaturated and no one makes money with coloring books anymore, it was a big mistake. Just because they didn't make money with coloring books doesn't mean that I wasn't going to. But I did decide to republish those books, and then I was just going to let them sit on Amazon and just see what they did organically for a few months. I was still really annoyed at KDP, even though I had decided I was going to continue publishing with them. I was just still really annoyed at what had happened, and I hear of other people having similar types of things happen to them, and I still sort of hadn't gotten over it at that point. So I didn't want to put in any more effort than I needed to make sales for them. Even though it's making sales for me too, I was still sort of in that mindset of, why should I help you after what you've just done to me sort of thing. So I decided I wasn't going to be doing any kind of off Amazon promotion, any kind of social media promoting or anything like that. I decided just to let them sit on KDP, and in the meantime, I focused on some other things that I had been wanting to work on for a little while. I learned about creating children's picture books, and I created and published my first children's picture book. YouTube is one thing that takes up a lot of my week, so I just continued putting time and effort into my YouTube channel and my YouTube videos. And I gave some other online businesses a try that I'd been wanting to for a while, things like print on demand and creating some digital products. And then I noticed my low content books. Well, I say that they're low content. Some people do not call coloring books, puzzle books, and activity books low content. And I believe with the changes Amazon have made recently about low content books, they technically don't class those books as low content. But I noticed those books that I had republished were starting to sell again. So sales are increasing every month along with the income that I make from them. Over the last few months, I've just sort of let the customers do the work in just buying them as they find them in the search results organically, and they're leaving reviews, which just gives a trust factor for more customers to buy. So I am getting reviews. They're good reviews. Most of my books are over 4.5 to 5 stars. And slowly these books, their sales and their reviews are just slowly building up every month. It's sort of just like a slow burn that is literally taking no effort on my part. And I had no expectations of whether these books were actually going to sell in these highly competitive niches, particularly without any kind of promotion, but they are. And the trend so far is that sales are increasing every month. I don't share my income reports here on my YouTube channel, but just to give you an idea of what's happening, one of my coloring books that I have in my coloring book series is currently making around $400 to $500 per month, and that's going up. In fact, I did just check my stats earlier before I started recording this video, and one of the coloring books is sitting at around $550 in income or in royalties to me so far for this month. And currently in that series of coloring books, I have 8 coloring books, and I have plans to add more to that series. And that book that I originally created way back in 2018 in CreateSpace, I remembered eventually that I had that. I brought it over to KDP, and I now have it published as part of my series of coloring books. And it is now actually my highest rating book out of all my books that I have published. So what am I going to do going forward? I am going to continue building up these series of books, so the coloring books as well as the puzzle books and activity books that I have, because although they are all highly competitive niches, they have great potential. And these are the types of books that are consumed. A customer buys it, they complete it. Usually people who buy these books love these types of books, and so they will go buy more once they have finished the ones that they have. Sometimes they like even collecting them, whether they finish them or not. And they're the types of niches where they're happy to try a range of different brands or a range of different publishers or authors, books from different people, because they like to try all different things in these types of niches. I am going to start doing promotion for these books again in terms of building up the brands away from Amazon on social media and see where I can take it with off Amazon promotion. So what is the point, the whole point of this video? Well, for one, to explain that low content books is still a very valid way and a really great way to make money online if it is something that you really enjoy doing. And I really believe that you need to have enjoyment of creating these types of books. Otherwise, it does show through. And if you don't have the passion for it, it's not something that you're going to put the amount of effort in that you need to put in to have books that actually sell. Also, the point of this video is that I believe that there are no oversaturated niches. I really do believe that. I believe that if you can make a product that is better, different, or more suited to the market than what's out there already, you can see success. When I see what people call an oversaturated niche is I see high demand, I see customer desire, customer need and want for that particular product. And then it's just figuring out what the customer wants. And it's also about not cutting corners. There are lots of people out there on YouTube teaching how to create certain kinds of books, and people are always trying to find the shortcut, the hack, the easy way, the free way, the cheap way, and these ways are not the right way to make a book usually. To make a quality book that people want to buy, you're going to have to put in the time, or you're going to have to put in the effort, or you're going to have to put in the money to create something valuable that people are going to buy and then actually rave about once they receive it. There's no point creating a book that people buy and then hate because it's really poorly made or really cheaply made or not thought out very well, because all that'll do is have them leave bad reviews, meaning in the end, no one's going to buy it anyway. So I really believe that if you can make a good book the right way, even in these highly competitive niches, you can do well. If you are struggling with low content books on KDP, or if you've been wondering whether it is a good business model to start because of all the YouTube videos out there about oversaturation, or you can't make money with KDP for whatever reason, then I just say, why are you wanting to make low content books? Is it because you want to make quick money? If that's the case, this is definitely not the business model for you. Are you doing it just because other people are making money from it? Forget about other people's income reports and what niches that they're in and what type of books that they make, because those can be really distracting sometimes, especially if you have a different idea of what path you want to take with low content book publishing. And their books might work for them, but it might not work for anybody else. So just forge your own path, go with your gut, and go with the things that you enjoy, and don't get distracted by what other people are doing. You are going to have to figure out what works for you, and the only way to do that is through trial and error. Give things a go. See what works for you. See what books you enjoy making. See what books you are good at making, and make a commitment with it. I find that no matter what I'm doing, when I make a commitment to be consistent at something, it works for me. When I started this YouTube channel, I told myself that I was going to upload one video at least every single week for an entire year, regardless of how many subscribers I got or how many views I got. Even if I got 0 views on every video, I was going to stick with it for 12 months. And if after 12 months I had no subscribers, I wasn't really getting any views, then I would sort of think, well, YouTube isn't for me. But I was consistent and it worked. I had a plan when I started publishing low content books on KDP, and I got distracted by what other people were doing, and that didn't work for me. When I went back to my commitment of what I said I was going to focus on, it started to work. So this video was just a little update on what has been happening with my low content books the last 4 or 5 months. When I did make that video around 6 or 7 months ago about my account being terminated, I did say in that video I wasn't sure what I was going to do with KDP, whether I was going to continue doing it or not, and I never really gave an update after that. So that's what I want this video to be, and hopefully you got something out of it, whether it's helping you decide whether to get into this business model or not, or whether it's helped you understand publishing on KDP a little more. But I look forward to continue sharing my publishing journey here on YouTube, as I do have lots of big plans for the future with where I do want to go with self-publishing and the kinds of books that I want to create and publish. I have plans to create more children's books, more coloring books, activity books, and puzzle books, as well as adding some more medium to higher content books in there as well. So I really do hope that you stick around and follow along with my journey. I do appreciate every single one of you who subscribes, watches, likes my videos, and leaves comments on my videos. If you have enjoyed this video, please let me know by giving it a thumbs up, and I'll see you in the next video.